Can you hear me? Please, let's make this interactive. I want to
I can
arrest.
hear you, ma. I can hear
Okay.
you, ma.
All right. So please, I want our reactions. I want our emojis. If you can hear me, if you can see me properly, I want us to show in the comment section, so it's not just blood. All right. Um, all can hear me. Hi, Eniola. Good to meet with you. My name is Dare-Akanni, and I'm the founder of the Willow Blaze. The Willow Blaze is a community for women that are married. Yes, people that are not married can join us as well to learn it to not do. But the major audience are married women that are experiencing one challenge or two, particularly people that are still early in their marriage. We want to come together to have conversations around the things that causes those marital rifts and how we can get a bliss of our marital life. And today we're talking about busting marital myth. To start with, so like I said, this is going to be very interactive. It's not just going to be about me. It's going to be about us. So who would tell me, what do you understand by myth? When they say myth, M-Y-T-H, could use the chat section. Let's make this interactive. What do you understand by marital myth? Oh, no, let's just say marital now. Let's just say myth. What do you understand by myth? If you want to unmute, you can unmute yourself. Not saying anything.
Myths to me can just be belief or an idea.
Amazing. Thank you. Omolara.
Okay, myth to me is like an idea or probably something that has been on ground for a while now and is being passed to different people, just like we say is a norm, something that is seen to be as a norm.
All right. Thank you so much, Ife. Thank you, Omolara. So you guys said it correctly. Myths are things that, or beliefs that we've held to be true. They've been there for a while. They probably passed on to us from one generation to another, and we've held them very close to our heart. Now, the foundation of all of this conversation is that marriage, I said we're looking at basically married women. And I think before we even start thinking of the old myths and all of that, let's talk about the concept of marriage itself, right? A lot of people have their own idea of what marriage is. And the society has also taught us of what marriage is. For me, I would say marriage is the first institution ordinated by God. And the idea of it is to create of a smaller unit of system that can now cascade into a bigger system. How do I mean? So we will say in biology that family is the smallest unit of the community. God's way of doing things, he wants to have a world, but he wants to start with a smaller unit that can be controlled. So it is originally God's plan. And if we actually want it to work, we have to go back to the drawing board. One of the ways we saw marriage in the Bible was, so if you're not a Christian, I'm sure it's also in the Quran, but one of the first ways we saw Bible in the Bible was Genesis 1. And if you look at the process, you would know that there is first of all the man, then the woman. So no matter what we try to say, yes, we are equal before God. There is a bit of hierarchy, right? In an organization, everybody cannot be on a flat organogram. You have, so in this institution, there's an organogram, which is God, your spouse, which is your husband, and you. So that established. Another thing about all of this is marriage is, some people say, oh, for better, for worse, for stay, for go, or whatever they say it. But all of those things, if you are not sure of why you should be in marriage, you would start to have issues. That said, we get into marriage, we have these high expectations, we have these thoughts that, oh, we are here for something good, we are here for something amazing, as it should. And you get there and you realize that sometimes it is what I ordered, that was what I got. And you start to have this feel like, am I in the wrong place? So the first myth I'm going to share tonight is, it is okay to be okay, right? A lot of times, people in our space, they don't, maybe our mothers or people older than us, they don't share the pains that they have in the marriage to us. So you see our parents, even the woman especially, they're experiencing some kind of displeasure. But when the children are there, everybody tries to look fine and okay, like everything is fine. And they don't tell us anything going on. Even your aunties, everybody's trying to keep a fine face, a smooth face. And the worst of them are the mommy geos in church, you know. Some of them, their husbands are, or even in mosque, their husbands are actually molesting them, and they will come to church and they will carry this fine face like, everything is fine. So they've created a facade for us so much that we feel like marriage is supposed to be a bed of roses, right? Should marriage be sweet? Absolutely. I was telling someone yesterday, I said it doesn't have to be difficult. You could actually have it very sweet. Marriage should actually be very sweet. But again, for a sweet wine, there is a pressing process. For honey, there is a process. So we will get to that sweet part, but we also need to understand that it is okay not to be okay. So you're in a marriage and something goes wrong and you're not feeling emotionally okay. You know, normally people will make us feel like, let's not talk. No, if you're in a marriage and you're not feeling okay, it is normal. Don't don't feel ashamed. And one other thing that has happened is that people before now are not able to seek appropriate help because they are ashamed. They feel like when they come out to say things, it will look like, you are the only one that is. So that stigma for seeking help in marriage can sometimes be there because a lot of people have tried to give that facade that marriage is all good, is a place full of roses. So once you get there, sorry, I can still hear this feedback from my other device. Let me take it out. Let me just disconnect the audio. All right. So it's okay not to be okay. If you're on this call and you're feeling uncomfortable about yourself, about your marriage, don't beat yourself too much. That you can even feel uncomfortable shows that you are normal. If a mad woman on the street doesn't even know whether he has or she has an husband or children, she cannot even feel anything. She's just walking around, fighting for her mental space. And there are a lot of them that are not even on the street, that are in psychiatric home. So if you are feeling unsettled about your marriage, don't feel bad about it. Don't feel shy about it. Don't feel ashamed about it. It's okay. Things sometimes don't go the way we thought they should. Don't beat yourself too much. And that's why we are here to enlighten ourselves, to share thoughts, to see how we can help ourselves. Now, we've talked about what myths are. Myths are beliefs that we go through. Now, for emotional intelligence, it's been said that your feel in life is always your reality, is an equation between your reality and your expectation, right? So happiness is reality minus expectation. So if you are expectant, okay, so yesterday was Valentine's Day. I don't know how many of us got flowers and roses and all those yummy, 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 yummy things, right? If you were really expecting flowers, if you were expecting gifts, and the day comes and your spouse does not give you gifts, your reality is cut short, and it would impact in long run impact your happiness, right? If you were not expecting anything and you just got a call from him and he gives you a trip, you just get this visa for all paid expense to Seychelles or Mauritius, or you have flowers. Okay, if you don't want to go outside the country, it's just sent to you beautiful flowers in the office, chocolates. You get home, there's all these paparazzi, those things we saw on social media yesterday, all those flowers everywhere, decoration, all those yummy, yummy, you'll be feeling very excited, right? Are you still with me? Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Please give me your emojis. Let me know if we are still together, right? So when the things you're expecting does not align with the reality, it starts to affect our emotions. It starts to give us a sense of dissatisfaction. Yeah, all right, thank you, everyone. It starts to affect our satisfaction. So that's why it is important that we start with the mind, right? Let's start with the mind, because a lot of times the things that we are not happy about in our marriages are based on the expectations that we have from our spouse or from that marriage. And those expectations come from the beliefs that we've hold to be true, the things that we've seen, the things we've heard, that we feel like, oh, this thing is what should be in marriage. Nobody is communicating it basically because you just already feel like that's how it should be. And you wouldn't even know that you are putting expectations on those things because they are sometimes subtle. Now, am I saying that we shouldn't expect amazing things from our spouses? By all means, you should, right? So that one is realistic. Oh, it's Valentine's Day. But sometimes if you don't even know, you might want to even ask him. He didn't send flower. You want to know his thought around Valentine. Do you know some people still don't believe in Valentine's? They'll be like, all those things people do is just kiddish. And you already have a mindset that is Valentine. So again, let's go back. Let's even start Valentine. I think Valentine is a good place to start. Should Valentine be celebrated? Like, should somebody buy you flowers and gifts for Valentine? I want our responses.
For me, yes, so I believe it should be celebrated.
Okay, so where did that expectation, where did that belief come from? How did you come about that belief?
Okay, for me, I just feel like though I believe people say love should not be celebrated in a day, but I think since that day has been set aside out of the 365 days to appreciate your loved one, you should be intentional about it. That's what I just see. Since it is sometimes you get carried away with like daily activities, with work, with life challenges. But since that particular day has been set aside, we've set aside a day for Christmas, we've set aside some days for Easter to celebrate Easter, even to celebrate birthdays. So if a particular day has been set aside to celebrate your partner or the person you claim to love, I feel you should be able to take up that day and just celebrate the person, regardless of every other day that you used to appreciate the person. That day alone should be special. That's what I think.
Amazing. Thank you very much for that response. Right. So you see, now you got the perspective from social media. Growing up, we saw that they set a day apart and said, this deal, you should celebrate your spouse, right? Or your partner. What if the spouse or partner does not now accept or believe in that day? And you people never had that discussion to say, oh, what's your perspective around this day? Because sometimes we just feel that because things are done in a way, we are on the same page on that thing, right? Some people have come up to say, I don't know how the day came. It says in Valentino's, whatever they are. I don't know the history. But somehow, it's a sha being put together to say, okay, today's is day set apart for love, right? But again, for me, it is still a myth, because this Christmas that we said we set apart, there are some Christians that do not believe in Christmas. Jehovah's Witness, for instance, they are followers of Christ, as they will say, but they don't believe in birthdays. Deeper Life will tell you that it's not a day to be happy. They'll just take you to one camp and they will do. I don't know if we are getting these things. Because sometimes if we do not question some things that we hold true, some people now, their spouse is already in a bad book because yesterday did not bloom for them. And they are not saying, like, shouldn't you know? But sometimes the spouse that you are working with might not even hold it dear to his or her heart. You might even think it's for relationship, not for married people. And that's why we need to be able to identify the thought patterns that we are working with. And most importantly, align those thought patterns with whoever you are working with, which is your spouse in this case. Now, for me, do I believe that people should celebrate? Why not? Yesterday, I desired rose. Like, and I even said it before now that, I want to buy a rose for myself. I want to do Valentine for myself. But when I checked my account, the account was not accounting. I said, okay, like every day is Valentine, we'll do Valentine next year. But truly, if I got Valentine's gift yesterday, would it have been love? Yes. But sometimes, and I'll go back. So in the evening, I come, I was like, but guy, what happened? Valentine did not steal today. What really happened? I think we've come to a place in our relationship where we need to, yes, you celebrated me online, but we've come to a place where we need to be deliberate and intentional about expressing our love for ourselves. And he said, oh, have I ever done this for you? I said, yes, while we're dating, you bought me this. He was like, oh, you can't even remember. So I said, yes, but now we are married. We have to be more deliberate about expressing love to ourselves. Yes, I know you are there for me. You know I'm there for you. But for days like this, we need to make sure. So I could go around looking for trouble in the house but again, at that point, it wasn't there. I'm not making excuses for them, but I'm just trying to say that we have to, first of all, understand where our own belief is coming from and run that same belief by your spouse. Because two shall become one. All the things about you will become one. From your thoughts to your actions to your beliefs. If those thoughts, those beliefs, those expectations, if they are not aligned, there will always be trouble. You will likely have the feel of disappointment over and over again. So I have two quotes here. One says, you are not richer than what you carry in your mind, not stronger than what you hold in your heart, and no purer than what you have on your soul. So it's still buttressing the fact that the state of our heart matters a lot. The thoughts, the beliefs that we have, it matters. Another one says, in the long run, married couple will be forced to adhere to the same ideologies if they want to stay together. And I completely agree. If you want to stay in that marriage with your husband, you will have to learn to merge your ideologies. Those beliefs you have about marriages, you have to bring it to the table for them and ensure that you guys are on the same page. So if you want to do something we call belief match, it's fine. And it doesn't have to look serious. From this class now, we're going to list out some beliefs that you can work with. And in your free time, you want to start asking questions about those beliefs. And you'll be amazed that there might be a clash in those beliefs. And that's where the work now comes, where people will now sit down and make sure that you align those beliefs. So when you're setting your expectations, like I said earlier, did you have expectations from your spouse? Yes, you should. But when you're setting your expectations down, it is a little bit more realistic. It's just like an organization. Before they tell you that these are your KPIs, both you and the organization should have agreed that these are the things I want to do for you. So they will do interview for you and say, these are the things we expect from you. They will give you your job description and all of that. After that, they will now give you KPIs. These are the things that we used to know if you are actually doing the work. So if you're a customer service person, you must maybe take 50 calls in a day. You must speak to all customers and get 5-star rating. Because both you and the organization are already on the same page as to what to deliver. I hope you are getting me now. So at the end of the day, when you are doing your performance rating and they say you did not pick 50 calls, you are 4 short, you won't feel bad because you guys are both in sync. And that's the same thing we should do for our spouses, right? And that's part of the mix we are going to have or to discuss. You guys need to lay out your belief system in a formal and informal way to both be sure. So if this year, we sat down and said, I did not get what I expected for Valentine's Day. What's your thought around Valentine's Day? And it comes like, oh, I feel it's for married people or whatever. Okay, it's for single. Me, as your wife, I want to feel loved. And there's a part of this whole, community where we come to start talking about communication. Because you see, communication, as simple as it seems, it can be the most difficult thing to actually do, right? So you want to go back and say that, oh, so when you get his thoughts about Valentine's Day, it will now be that, okay, me, part of the ways I want to feel loved going forward is that you express love to me on this day. So regardless of what you're doing, how busy you are, it becomes a KPI for us in this house that on Valentine's Day, we both express love to ourselves, regardless of where we are. Even if your husband is in Canada, there are people in Canada that can deliver flowers to him if that is what he likes. And it's also going to be a two-way thing. And we're going to come there, right? And those are the myths. One of the myths we want to talk about is that it is only the man that instigates relationship talks, sex. Like the man should be the one actively driving the home. Who says? Yes, he's the head of the home. But if you have, and I'll use organization a lot because organization is also an institution and some of these things play out around it. Not exactly. So if you are in an organization, you have a team leader, supervisor, but something is going wrong in the place, you can walk up and say, oh, I feel that this thing we are doing can be done better in this way. And that's where innovation comes in, right? So I'm meeting my timeout in 10 minutes. Please, if it times out, use the same link, just join back in, right? So if your organization comes and that's in your organization, you suggest solutions to them. And they will say, oh, fine, thank you. And that's how some people become the stars in their organization. So if you do that in your organization, your home is your first organization. Why won't you come home to tell your spouse what you suggest? So again, in this part of what they made us feel like, oh, he's the one to initiate, especially that sex for women. It's the man that will initiate the sex. It's the man that should think of our way forward. It's the man that should. Yes, if your husband is a thoughtful person, if he's a leader that is able to drive those things, amazing. But if he's not driving it and you are seeing it, the only thing is that you don't go all force to make it look demanding or commanding. However, you can make those suggestions. Like I said yesterday, I said, okay, so we are 10 in marriage, we are 10 years in marriage. Maybe our first 10 years, we'll be trying to figure some things out. I think the next phase of our marriage now, we need to be more intentional. If we have to take courses, let's go ahead by all means. We have to be more intentional about expressing the love we have for ourselves, to ourselves, in the way we would understand. I was like, oh, okay. So if it's happening next year, then I can know the kind of conversations to have, right? Another myth I want us to talk about is the man you marry will make or mar you. So I've heard this thing a lot. Like when I was growing up, the person you marry will make or they will mar you. And it's the way it affects married people is that once you marry and things are not going the way you should or they should, you start to feel like, oh, I'm doomed. I didn't choose rightly. And there's a possibility that people will start to fall into sadness or depression. Yes, your relationship has a significant effect on you. But for me, you will make or mar yourself because your life is in your hands. Regardless, your husband has an influence on you. But when you get to heaven, God will ask you what you did with your life. So that you are married does not mean that you should take all your steering of life and give it to the hands of the man and let him steer you, even if he's steering you away. Am I saying you should not be submissive? No, you should be submissive. But you should know that your life is still in your hands. You still bear your name. You don't lose yourself to marriage. You know, some people, the moment they get married, if you see them 6 months later, you ask them, what happened to you? All the things they used to do before they got married, they stop them. I said, my husband does not like it. And my husband said, before they do 2 sentences, my husband, I'm not saying you should not love your husband. I'm not saying that, okay. I'm not saying you should not love your husband. I'm not saying that you should not revere him. But what I'm explaining to us is that your marriage will make or mar you. Yes, your marriage has influence on you, but the making of yourself is in your hands. So if you're not getting what you want in the marriage, it is onus unto you, like we are doing now, to seek out knowledge on what to do to get the kind of happiness you desire, to get the kind of lifestyle you desire. Don't feel stuck like I am already married and I'm stuck. There's nothing I can do. I'm doomed. No, it's not a doomed situation. Yes, sometimes things don't go the way you expect. We have a lot of premarital counseling and everything, and people will say if you do all the things you're supposed to do right, and when you get to your marriage, sometimes you do everything right. But you're trying to mix water and oil. That's how it could be for some people. It will take a while. It will take a process. So don't feel like it's over. That's what this myth is all about. That for me, it is not true that the moment you are married, you are doomed or you are made. Some people, maybe if they asked Annie 3 years ago or 4 years ago, 5 years ago, say, marrying Two-Face has made me. Is it still the same today? So don't put your life on that marriage as if this person is responsible for whatever goes wrong. I hope they are still together. So in case this time just out, please log back in. Right? If you are still with me, let me see your emojis. Let me see us. Let me see us. All right. Cass B and Eniola, I've not heard from you guys since we started. I hope I am saying what we want to hear. All right, so that's the second, okay. All right. That's the second myth. Cass, you want to say something? Or you're just showing us your emoji. All right, thank you. So the next myth I want to talk about is God hates divorce. I don't know if some of us have heard that word before. Like, I cannot divorce, so God hates divorce. Remember the first myth I talked about is that the person you marry will make or marry you. You know, the truth about life is sometimes, based on life situation, we could truly, truly marry wrongly. That is acceptable. Sometimes you feel like, oh, the coast gets clearer, but the person you're in with does not see it that way. Yes, God hates divorce, but if the only way to have happiness is to leave that home, I'm not saying that anybody should leave their home, because if the idea is divorce, I'm not even thinking we'd have all of this conversation at all. But you should also know. So like this woman, this Ekwewen woman, or the people that their husbands are abusing physically. So people are beating. I saw something yesterday and I laughed. He said, we have seen plenty videos of couples today. Mointon belt. I don't know if you understand that. Well, Yoruba. Meaning that we don't know who they are belting, who they are beating in the house with the belt. And the question is, does this still happen? Yes. So if anyone finds themselves in an abusive relationship and the man beats you morning, afternoon, night, or sometimes emotionally abused, and all the attempts to get yourself out of that space or to get him out of that space is proving abortive, why should you still stay there? Because sometimes the happiness we say we are looking for it might actually be in you leaving that space. So we need to understand very well that God hates divorce, but he does not hate the divorcee. And marriage takes two people. It takes two to tango. If you are playing all your part and the other person is not playing their part and it's impacting on your physical health, mental health, and it continues for a while, it's okay to leave, right? So let's know that belief that God hates marriage, divorce, I can never marry, that makes people die in relationship or in their marriage, is not going to happen here. Another myth we'll talk about is that if this is not working, I'm going. It's not working, I'll just file for divorce. Now you will see that it's a balanced thing. The first one is I can never leave. The second one is any small thing, I leave. You know the truth? I have seen people, not very far from me, that have married 3-4 times. The moment they check out of the first one, without doing the right thing, statistics says that anyone that divorces now, it has a higher tendency, like a 50% more tendency to have a second divorce. I think this thing will time out now. Okay, 1 minute. All right. So what it is that when people experience challenges in relationship, when you don't look for problem-solving skills, when you don't even identify, sometimes the problem is us. Sometimes the problem is the beliefs you already, like these things we are talking about now. If you don't sit down and really analyze the troubles you're experiencing and look for solutions, and be sure that from your own end, you have done the best possible thing. If you leave that relationship, whatever, I don't know if you understand this thing that they call like begets like, right? You would attract your kind of person. Okay, let's log out now. We have less than 1 minute, so it doesn't shut down our face. Let's log out and log back in. Please remember where we stopped. Thank you. So I'll end this now and we'll come back right in.